Good morning, Ross.
Morning. How
we
are
are
you?
Final day of Automechanica.
We are.
Thank you so much for coming to sit
Not
on
a
the
problem.
sofa and talk to
Not
me.
a problem.
We are talking about all things Ben and how Ben relates to the industry and why Ben's important. So we want to ask you a few questions. You are the winner, current title holder of the Ben Award,
Yep.
so the Ben Health and Wellbeing Award, which is a top garage award. And can you tell us a bit about the process of going through the Ben Award and why you did it?
Well, we tried the Top Garage, and then obviously the Ben Award was a bolt on to that. So we went for that as well, and at the time we didn't know a huge amount about Ben, but then when we went through the process and we got to the final of it, 2023, obviously we met yourself, and we went through that process of the interview stage. And we didn't win it in 2023, but we did come close. And the things that we talked about in that interview process really kind of helped spur us on to be better. And kind of we have a kind of culture anyway that we really want to look after the guys that work with us, as well as customers and all the usual stuff. But that kind of made us tweak a lot of the stuff that we maybe hadn't thought about. So went in for it again this year and got over the line and won it. So yeah,
amazing,
yeah, awesome.
How do you find the process? Is it hard? Is it hard to say what you do to health and wellbeing? Is that different from the process of applying for Top Garage?
Not really. I suppose in the Top Garage kind of process, you're almost trying to big yourself up and kind of shine a big light on what you do that's different from everybody else. And with the Ben Award, you're just being honest and you're just answering, like, honestly how you look after people and how you interact with your staff and stuff like that. So it was easier, I would say, just because you're just being honest about it. You're not trying to big yourself up too much, like it is with the Garage Awards.
Amazing. So, what does putting people first mean in your garage? Like, what does that mean for you?
So I think every garage is really focused on obviously customers and the quality of work that they put out and stuff. And sometimes the members of staff kind of just get forgotten about a little bit. And it is just about. I've been fortunate enough to work in very good garages that do look after staff, and I've taken a lot of the stuff how they treated me, good and bad, into how I run the garage now. So it's kind of just tweaking it to make sure that the guys are well looked after. They know that they can approach us, and I heard a quote by somebody once saying that as a garage owner, you have to make it a safe place to work physically, but also a safe place for the people to be themselves and, not be freaked out if they make a mistake or something like that. Be it a safe space for them to actually work in mentally as well as physically as well.
So what changes? You mentioned earlier that when you went through the process the first time, it highlighted some things for you and you put some things into action. So what kind of things did you do?
Well, we always thought we looked after our staff pretty well, and it was just more kind of just really honing in on what we'd done already and just amplifying that a little bit. Not just to be like, when you're walking past someone, just all right, how's the job going? But more kind of focus on how that person is individually, and start to look for wee things where people maybe aren't themselves, or what makes them tick, what kind of gets them wound up and stuff, and adapt how you approach that person as an individual and not just a general employee. So really helped with that.
And do you think dedicating that time in that process, you were kind of forced to sit down and talk solidly for an hour about your staff's health and wellbeing, and to get that much out of an hour's conversation? Do you think that is something that employers can do, is actually dedicate time to solely think about their employees' health and wellbeing?
I think you have to. There's no getting away from it. I mean, the mental health in the motor industry is a lot bigger than people like to admit or like to show. Maybe it's that kind of match.
Stats up on the wall.
100%, yeah. And it's that kind of, male-dominated industry. We're okay. We'll just suck it up and get on with it. And it is just that, it's okay to talk to people and stuff like that. So it's people do need to open up more, and nobody will think bad of them or anything like that for it. Nobody looks down or think you're weak or anything like that. And, yeah.
And how have your team felt on that journey? Have they felt a difference going through that process with you?
I hope so. Like I say, we've kind of really started to focus in on not looking at them. I mean, we're a small garage anyway, but that umbrella of they're an employee that works with us, it's now, it's not just you work with Maitland Motors, it's Dave as an individual, it's Sean as an individual, it's Callum as an individual,
Yeah.
Laura as an individual, and really focus on them as a person. And hopefully that's kind of, we've when a lot of them are down with us over the last few days, and it's just that getting to know them individually, and then with that, then we can see how they react, and act better around them maybe, and kind of push them on through the journey, and make sure they know that it's okay to approach me and talk, to my wife or each other.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be like, just shut up and get on with it. They have really kind of got onto that culture of, we can all talk to me, they can talk as a team, they can talk to my wife or talk to Ben.
We've had some other people on the couch, and they have mentioned about Ben being a real partner in their business and how that makes them feel confident that when staff approach them, they have a solution.
Yeah.
And if we didn't exist and we weren't there, how isolating that would feel to them, because they wouldn't have something to give their staff. But what does that mean for an employer? So how does that affect you? What does Ben mean to you as the human that runs the business?
Yeah, I mean, it's always that element of we try and help as much as we can, but we're mechanics. We're not, if things get too much for people and they've let it kind of linger on, it gets to a stage where as a person I can help as much as I can, but you need a bit more help, and that's where Ben comes in. And I've been through Ben coaching myself and life coaching with them and talking about things, and that was, I mean, it changed everything for me going through that process.
Yeah.
And it was actually yourself that said just pick up the phone and reach out, and I did, and it changed everything for me. It's changed my life completely. It changed my outlook on things, changed my business, the way I run it, and how not how much I'm involved, but got that work-life balance back and everything like that. So yeah, it's a huge thing.
It's so nice to hear. 'Cause
Yeah.
we don't. I've said it a few times, but we don't get to hear that side. Because
Yeah.
obviously the services are totally confidential.
Yeah.
So for people to be brave enough to talk and be open with their stories, we appreciate it so much. Especially for me and my team, because we don't see that side. It's lovely being on the shows,
Yeah.
but what happens on the hard side. But can you talk me through that journey? So obviously you mentioned that we spoke, and I kind of encouraged you to take that step. But from there, where did that journey go? Where did you go through?
I'll try and condense this as much as I can, because I know we're kind of short for time. But so I was in a place where I didn't think I was in a bad place, and it was taking work home with me, actual paperwork home and stress home with me. I'm married with two young kids, and they were kind of getting the brunt. I had that kind of everything's great face on all day, and then you took you bombed on the way home, and everything, all the stress got taken out on them. And so it was actually my wife, not an argument, but we were nipping at each other one day, and I just turned to her and I said, it's okay for me not to be okay. And she kind of took a step back and said, what do you mean? And I kind of opened up a little bit, but I couldn't put it into words. I didn't know how to get what was going on in my head out in words. And then when I reached out to Ben, and we started going through the 8-week sort of coaching program, by week 3 I was able to verbalise it, and then it was like, right, now I've got stuff out, and it was a bit worse than what I probably thought it was, or letting on is what it was. But once I could verbalise it, then we got a plan in place. We managed to kind of get things better, and and I said this to you the other day, that Ben saved my marriage without a doubt, and probably stopped me having a breakdown in 6 months to a year. And it was there was no judgment. It was really straightforward. It was the coach helped me bring stuff out, but I led the conversation. They gave us stuff to do in between sessions. I took it on board. I done it, and by the end of it, My marriage was in a better place. I was in a better place. I had a different outlook on life. It was an amazing, straightforward, but fantastic process we went
Amazing.
through.
So in that, you called the helpline, you chose to go for some life coaching,
Yep.
and that's a service we provide. At the start, in that first session, did you goal set? Did you identify where you wanted to be at the end of that, or was that a progressive thing that you worked on?
I think because we've done the 8 weeks of, I don't know, you call it therapy when now we've done life coaching after that.
Yeah.
So I was under that, but I think at the start I'd never done anything like it before. I'd never opened up to anybody really, and so I kind of went in open-minded and just kind of, I don't know what the process is. I don't know what it's about. But the staff members really kind of helped me, relaxed me, took me through the process, and it was so simple, but massively beneficial. But so I didn't have any kind of goals at the end of it because I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
The goals kind of came as we went through the weeks, and then at the end of the 8 weeks of therapy that we had, then it was, right, we're going to give you life coaching if you want it, to stop you getting back to that again.
Okay.
Yeah, and then at the end of that 8 weeks life coaching, I was able to put things in place and be like, right, I'm not going back there again. I'm not going back down that dark hole again, so I can move forward and keep this momentum going. And
do you think those strategies that you learned in that first initial kind of counselling therapy service and then that life coaching piece afterwards, are they skills now, like we say, in your toolbox that you have that you can pull out when you need them? Can you identify when you're going back to that place? Is that something that
I can catch it earlier? Definitely catch it earlier. And it's also helped my wife, because during the process I was talking to her, and she was, after we finished, she was like, I don't know how I didn't notice it, but now she does, and she knows when she's maybe reading me a bit better. I mean, we've got her 23 years. I think she should know me by now, but she can read me a little bit better now, I suppose, and she helps massively. And, massive shout out to her, because
she's incredible.
And she sees things when it's starting to kind of go, or I'm maybe not having the best of days, and she's put stuff in place that helps me and brings me back out of that. And so
like one example of some of those one of those tools that you might use. So when you say you identify it, what do you then do? What's that?
I think the main one was just that work-life balance was one of the main causes of it. So it was, there's been times where I've been working late, maybe doing paperwork or something, and whereas before I'd just be like, no, I'll just plow on, and I'm sitting going, no, I don't need to be here to do this. Yes, I need to do it, but I can do it at home once the kids are in bed, and I need to go home and see my kids. I need to go and spend time with them. Little things like that, and even things like, I know if I'm not feeling great, I can go for a walk. Just little things like that. Just go out, clear the air, clear your head, bit of fresh air, stuff like that, and come back in and just, which I wasn't doing before.
Yeah, both of those things. It sounds like you just give yourself a bit of space.
Yeah.
Before you make a decision.
And not be too hard on myself that I need that space.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was, I felt bad that I was working late. Obviously, I didn't not want to see my kids, but it was just allowing myself to have that time and not feel bad about it. It's like, it doesn't make me a bad dad, doesn't make me a bad husband or a bad person. Sometimes we just need a little bit of Ross time.
It's that whole you can't pour from an empty cup analogy.
Yeah.
So, if you could wrap all of what we've just talked about up, what advice would you give a business owner in a similar position now?
I would say, one, don't be scared to pick the phone up. Even if you feel like it's not something that you feel is a big thing. In my case, I didn't think it was, and it actually ended up being quite a big thing, and we sorted it early. I would say for more like for staff members and stuff, learn your staff, learn how they are, learn them as an individual, because then you can react to, not everybody's the same. Everybody, yes, they're an employee of your garage, but everybody's individual, and learn what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what makes them sad. Just learn about them. Treat everybody as an individual. because it'll make them happier, it'll make your business happier, it'll make productivity go up. Everything just falls in when you just take that little bit of time to learn your staff and get to know them as people.
Yeah, I think we've had that as a consistent message. Like, it's hard to quantify the improvements that prioritising staff wellbeing has, but nobody denies that it happens. Like, everybody has said,
Yep.
I can see the difference. It's just hard to quantify that.
Yeah.
But there is data around it, but it's a feel, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
feel it.
definitely. We've got certain members of staff that will react different to certain things outside of work, inside of work, and we've trying to hopefully get that right. And just even just saying to them, listen, if a job's not going well, you feel like, "Urgh," and you're getting in that kind of vicious circle, just go for a walk.
Yeah.
Take 5 minutes, go for a walk, go make yourself a coffee. I'm not going to shout at you for going for a walk. If you just need a bit of time, it's fine, don't worry about
Yeah.
it. And we try not to put like time restraints on people and stuff like that. Book time says that, doesn't matter. Just take your time with it, it's fine. And we do a lot of training with our staff externally, and we let them guide their own thing. We want them to be here if they want to be. It's not up to me how I'll push them as far as they can go, but every individual has different things that they want to do, are good at, have an interest in, and it is just about just learning them as an individual, as a personally and as a mechanic as well, where they want to go, and just don't treat them all the same. Yeah.
Amazing advice.
Yeah.
So the last bit, we are asking everybody that's been on the couch to ask the next person a question.
Oh.
So next up is Matthew Yilden. He is from East Coast College. So apprentices, what question do you want to ask Matthew?
Oh. What can independent garages do more to help apprentices navigate better into the motor trade? Because I think a lot of apprentices just come in still that old, you're not very academic, you're either going to be a builder or a mechanic, and it's not like that anymore. And people come in kind of a bit blinded, or they're either going to just get treated like crap by some employers, or they think they're going to be coming in and taking engines apart and remapping things and it's like, I think it's more like, what can garages do to come into colleges to talk to apprentices before they go into the actual working environment?
Real world.
We're doing that in October. We're going to our local college to give a talk about this is what you should expect going into a garage. But also say to them, the apprentices, they're at a golden time at the moment that everybody's wanting to go for apprentices because the tech shortage in the industry. And almost say to them that you have so much choice now. Let the garage sell them to you as well as you selling yourself to the garage.
Yeah.
And it is just more like, what can local colleges, what can independent garages do with local colleges to help make that transition a bit better? Is it coming in talking to apprentices, or having more days at the workshop where the apprentices can come in and just see the workshop, how it runs and stuff? But that's kind of something that I would say.
Great question. Yeah. Your question is actually me and Rachel.
Right, okay.
And it was, you see the big picture. So we see it in our side, you see it your side. What does health and wellbeing look like outside the award? Like, what does it look like in real life, behind the scenes?
That's a hard question. That is a hard question. To summarise that is hard. I think it's just, again, going back to kind of, treating everybody as individual, and not everybody's going to have a great day. It's taking them aside and just saying, living okay, and stuff like that. And it is just show respect to your staff. As an employer, you kind of almost demand respect, kind of thing. I'm the boss, but it's show them respect as well. And
you couldn't do it without them, I suppose.
100%. If cars and customers are important, staff are probably more important, because if you've got unhappy staff, you're not going to have a good environment. You're not going to have productivity. You're not going to have. They'll not want to come to the work. You're going to lose them. So health and wellbeing is just finding that nice balance, I would say, and again, just treating them all individually, making sure they're okay, making sure they're happy as much as they can be. We spend more time in work than we do with our families. It has to be, and it's stressful enough. It has to be a as nice a place to be as it can be in the motor trade, you know, and it is just kind of letting. I think just giving them respect to kind of say, like, going out and we speak to a lot of the guys about, like, if we're buying a new tool or we're going down a different avenue with something, we want their feedback, and it makes them feel part of the journey with us, rather than just being like, right, we're doing this now, don't care if you like it or not. You know, they help kind of bring the business on and direct the business, and because they're going to be they're in the trenches, aren't they? You know, I could think it's a great idea, and I think that is kind of just having that nice balance, find that the right people to work together, and just having a bit of a laugh, you know, just make it enjoyable. And
love that.
You know,
I think that's the top tip.
Yeah. Just have a laugh.
Bit of fun. Make it fun. Ross, thank you so much. Thank you for giving up your time. Thank you for being so brave and honest about your story, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.